Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So, we're going to continue the series on retiring on YieldMax, $100,000 invested in. And the next one we're going to cover is SQY, currently paying a 58.66% payout. So, we'll look at that one. We'll look at the underlying. We'll do some chart analysis. Then we'll look at the spreadsheet and see where we come out on these. Okay, so the first one, SQY. So SQY is currently trading at 1851. Let me get rid of these, go over here to the summary. Okay, so this one has been trading since October 11th. It's dropped about $1.60 or so from where it started. And it's had its ups and downs. It's yeah, $1.68 to be exact. It peaked out at the end of the year, 26.60. This is where it was looking really good. This one and Coney had a tremendous end to the previous year. And then we started dropping here. And then February, now I happen to be, by the way, I don't say this very often, but every now and then I get commenters wondering if I'm actually even in YieldMax. This is one I happen to be in. I happen to be in this one. I happen to be in Coney. And I'm still holding the bag on Tesla. And I think I have a couple others. I'll have to look. I have a smaller portion of maybe YMAX and YMAG. But anyway, so here we bottomed out for this cycle, 2029, and then we went back up to 25.47, March 28th, but we've been dropping since then. So if I now go to charting and then add in SQY, and then let's also look at the underlying square. Okay, so over the past year, this isn't exactly a fair comparison because this goes back to June 14th. Whereas SQY didn't start trading till October 11th. But nonetheless, we were here. Square was actually down at the time SQY launched. So at one point, SQY was, oh, hold on a second. I actually have them backwards. Really? Um, Hold on. So SQY since inception is up 30.91%. So this is one of the better YieldMax ones. Over the same amount of time, I can't even believe my eyes, but Square is down 2.42%. So see where we are here. We started to actually recover at one point SQY, and this has a lot to do with it being a year versus October where SQY launched. But if we look over here, SQY was up 46.49%. SQ was only up 24.84%. And then over here, you can see they've kind of followed each other, but SQY was actually kicking squares, or they call it block now, but it was kicking block in the butt. From here, we're still up 30.91% since inception, which is incredible. Let's look over 6 months. Over 6 months, different story, but it's still outperforming. Still outperforming the stock. This is something I'm going to have to actually look into further because historically, these funds have not outperformed their index. So SQY versus Block year to date is overperforming. Oh, and I'm also looking at total return too. So if I just go to price return, here we go here. Price return, yeah, okay. This was the problem here. This was the rub. So price return, SQY is down 29.43%, whereas SQ is down 19.65%. So there we go. Okay, this makes more sense now. In terms of just the price return, if we take the total return, it's kicking block squarely in the butt like that. Um, but if we just look at price return, it's still, see, Square is still outperforming. The underlying is still outperforming. So the theme still holds. Now, at one point here, let's see. Um, yeah, at one point, because of the launch time, it was technically outperforming here. But they actually mirror each other pretty close. Yeah, SQY is down more year to date over 6 months. Yeah, SQY is down more. But yeah, the total return definitely makes up for it. If we're looking at total return, yeah, see that definitely makes a difference. Let's see what we got here. We got greetings and salutations, coach and co. All right. Darn it. Oh, you were so close. Welcome to Synthetic Muse. He's laughing. YieldMax generally underperforming the underlying is a huge thing people don't care about for some reason. Well, yeah, a lot of the dividend community doesn't seem to care about it, but it is something that I care about. And of course, I'm not a big fan of using borrowed money to invest either. I believe, and that's just maybe my more conservative approach. So that's just me. I'm not telling you all what to do. While we get a what's up and then a good night, just like that. But as far as I believe in investing using your own money, that's just me. I'm somewhat debt averse. Unless you see like a really good opportunity, like say you were going to buy Nvidia stock a year ago and you did it on margin, you'd probably come way out ahead on that one because of how well it did. So if you see opportunities that are going to end up working, I think it's great. But as an investment philosophy, it's just not exactly my cup of tea. I know others are big fans of that, and to each their own. But anyway, okay, so that's where we are as far as the charts and stuff like that. Let's go look at a little dividend history. So we have now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've gotten our seventh dividend, which this one happened to be. So at the end of 2023, we got a phenomenal dividend, $2 and almost 15 cents. Our second highest was in January of this year, $1.61. And then our third highest actually just came in May. This hasn't updated for June yet, although it should because these have paid out. So technically, we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've gotten 8 of them. Okay, so that is that. Let's stop the share over here. Now let's delve into the spreadsheet over here. And next one in the series, of course. Let's do this here. All right. Okay, so next part of the video is the spreadsheet analysis. So let's go over here. All right. So we're going to type in SQY, and we're going to compare this to the underlying square. I keep calling it square. It used to be known as square, but it's actually block. I keep being block-headed and calling it by its prior name. All right, let's zoom in nice and big so everybody can see this. I know a lot of you watch on a phone, so I haven't quite decided how I would go about handling that as far as doing something a little bit bigger, but we'll do this for now. So $100,000 in SQY, and we're going to do the same thing in square. Let's center all of this over here. Okay. So let's say if we had bought SQY at inception. So SQY at inception, which was October 11th. Let me actually turn on my Wi-Fi here. I was away. I tend to turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone here. Okay, so we started at 2019, like I said, divided by 2019. Okay, so this would get us almost 5,000 shares. Let's take our most recent dividend, which of course Seeking Alpha hasn't put. Let's check the screen over here. Welcome. Okay, so let me go back over here and I have it up over here. The most recent, it was 96 cents was the most recent dividend. So let's play around with some numbers here. So 96, I believe it was, 0.9641. Yeah, 0.9641. There we go. Okay. 0.9641. Here's my screen over here. All right, let's do this. 0.96441. So this would pay us $4,775 and change per month times 12. But let's do this. Let's assume best case scenario. We got 214 one month. I think it was like 2.1463 to be exact, times, wait for this, times this. That's $10,000 a month. But I mean, that wasn't going to sustain. That just happened to be one of the best months. Let's look over here for a second. And then the worst month was actually February, 38 cents. So let's kind of do like our best case, worst case scenario, sort of like lower bound, upper bound of the analysis, if we want to get scientific with it. Let's go over here. Okay, so 0.3823 was the worst case scenario. So let's see, we would do this times 0.3823, and that would only pay us $1,800 per month. So 10,000 per month in this example. Best case scenario, 127,000. That would be phenomenal on a $100,000 investment. A little too good to be true, huh? So 22,722 worst case, 127,566 best case. Average case, we can always go with the average, right? So average case would be $57,301.63. So this is taking 0.9641 times 12. That's 1156 times the current, or divided by the current share price of 1851. That is a 62.5% payout. Is that close to what we said? Let me look again. Let's see, 58.66. So it's actually, if we go by the most recent one, 62.5% payout. There must have been a drop in the price. Yeah, there was, because I'm going by X dividend date. Yeah, I'm actually going by X dividend date instead of where we were before instead of where we are now. Okay, so that's where we would come out, and we also have to take into consideration where we are right now. This number of shares is currently worth what did we say, 1851? So we would have lost about almost 8,500 in share price. So let's see, SQY, yeah, 1851. That's where we would be. So we have to take that into consideration. Where we would be right now is this number. We're going to divide again by 12, then multiply by 8. So where we would be in terms of total return right now, $129,880.14. Now, if we had bought the underlying instead, we would be at, let's see, if we go back to October 11th, this is where it bottomed out. October honestly was a great time to buy block. So if we go to October 10th, we'll just say it was $46 a share. So to be fair, because it dropped lower, but our timing's not always going to be perfect. So divided by 46, that would be 2,174 shares. And then if we take where we are today in this, we're going to be looking really pretty, actually. 6215. So we would be 135,108.70 versus this over here. We would come out pretty close, but you've got to take the tax ramifications into consideration too, because this is going to be, if they're not classifying it as return of capital, which if you look at their financial statements, they're not doing it as much lately. I know sometimes they change things at the end of the year, shift things around, but on an after-tax standpoint, the long-term gain is taxed lower than the short-term gain. So at the peak, though, because we've obviously dropped back again. So if this was March 28th, 84.58 was the share price. So times 84.58 would be, look at this, a whopping 183,000. So in March, the argument was clear. Block stock was the best bet of the two. But from an income standpoint, you can't go wrong with almost 5,000 a month off of a $100,000 investment. So let's see here. Okay, so that's pretty much the video on that one. Buying SQY versus block stock. You would have to sell to realize the gain, which is something that I like to call paying your own dividend. What a novel idea. So a lot of people like the convenience that, oh, they're paying you. It's psychological, right? It's income. They're paying you. But when you're a growth investor or a long-term investor, uh, you can actually, and this is what you would be doing, you're taking your own, not just dividend, but you're taking your own gain. You're paying a long-term capital gains rate if you're holding for over a year. So you're actually taking your own gain, paying a lower tax rate, and say 4% rule or whatever, or say 10% rule. In this case, if you did it in March, that would be 18,000 that you would have per year. But right now it'd only be 13,500 if you do the math, say 10% of 135,000 versus 10% of 183,000. So, yeah, it's a little bit of extra work. I mean, pressing the sell button, that's a little extra work, but oh, I thought Mr. Vishon went to bed, but he's still up. It would be great for us to review each from a tax perspective using 2023 earnings. We can do that. So I can tell you when they don't classify as return of capital, um, you're going to get busted in taxes. It's going to be ordinary income, which is going to be at your tax bracket, which I assume you, with a name like yours, you would. I'm just kidding, but I just assume, you seem like a smart guy. You seem like you would be in a high tax bracket, so you could be at like a 28% tax bracket. That's about where I am. Um, and I would say of all the dividend income I've made, I'm not complaining about income, but it's very tax inefficient. In fact, because I have relatives doing this too, and we're going to have to reevaluate because it's just very tax inefficient because if you're of retirement age, if you're getting social security, if you're having to take required minimum distributions from your IRAs that you built up over your whole career, if you're taking all of that and then you add on dividend income on top of it, there can be such a thing as making too much money. And you can offset all the tax benefits you get from all your other stuff. Let's see. I know you could sell your own call options on the shares, but close far, would you have you could actually there's people in the Discord that are doing that. They quit sharing their trades, but they are doing that and they're doing very well. They're probably up over six figures by now, and we're not even halfway through the year, which is phenomenal. They're probably going to make more money than I am working, sitting behind a computer or a phone and doing the wheel strategy, of course. Vishan definitely above 25%. I would guess so. Good look with the smart guy part. Well, you're smart like me, or at least I like to pretend, but Um, we can guess, is Vishan in the 28% tax bracket? Let's see. It says it is certain. So now we know for certain. All right, you all, you kept me for 2 extra minutes. I don't get paid overtime for this, so I got to run. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe, and join Discord, and we will see you all in the next one. I'm trying to get the two-a-days back. I did yesterday, didn't make it today. That was my laziness. I need to get better about that. So, yeah, like I said, the ramp up is coming. All right. Thank you all for tuning in and sticking with me. Take care. Good night. Bye.